1 minute and 30 seconds to enter a home, attack 4 college students hundreds of times with stab wounds, leaving them lifeless and exiting. 1 minute and 30 seconds to 2 minutes and 30 seconds is the time frame Idaho police determined inmate number 163214 took inside that home based on evidence and autopsies. Shocking small amount of time to create such destruction, such a massacre, such an impact on those 4 lives, everyone who knew them, everyone who resided in that community and a nation, leaving everyone in shock and terror. This is Crime Time Buzz. Thank you so much for joining me. This is for entertainment purposes only, not to be taken as fact. I am using fact that is out there in the public in the form of documents that I will be sharing with you, and at times will be giving my own theory, speculation, and opinion. We have learned shocking news regarding inmate 163214, now property of Idaho Department of Corrections. Just what a monster and what monstrous events occurred in that home, and how quickly he was able to complete his task. It is just absolutely shocking. We are talking about the lives of Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Goncalves, and Maddie Mogen. This person is serving 4 consecutive life sentences as well as 10 years burglary in the Idaho Maximum Specialist Institution, Idaho Maximum Security Institution, IMSI, in Kuna, Idaho. That shocking statistic I just gave you supports that he is with the most dangerous male residents in Idaho, and in my opinion, where he belongs. For he is in J Block, the restrictive housing, 23 hours a day in his cell, caged like the animal that he is, in my opinion. So we have a wonderful document that shares what law enforcement did to investigate this crime and how they tried to determine, based on autopsies and collection of evidence, what occurred and how long it occurred in that home. It's interesting, it's shocking, but we're going to go over it. The little amount of time is just overwhelming to me, how so much could occur in such a little time. So much loss, so much rage. Today I take you to Moscow, Idaho, home of University of Idaho, where this event took place, where the last murders prior to this were in the year 2015. But on November 13th, 2022, 4 lives were taken, murdered, unalived. As you can see, it is on the Washington border. It is a town that is filled with, prior to this event, a vibrant art culture, festivals, safety, the feeling of safety, and unlocked doors. But a monster, an evil monster, crept in from the bordering state of Washington because he attended Washington State University in Pullman. Actually, one of the best top research universities in the state of Washington. But rather than entertain himself with research and teaching and finishing his doctorate, he targeted a house at 1122 King Road and took 4 lives in a matter of 1.5 to 2.5 minutes after he entered the home. This is Latah County, but the trial was going to be taking place in Ada County because the defense had asked for a change of venue, although he did plead guilty weeks before the trial was to begin. He pled guilty on July 2nd, 2025, in order to avoid the death penalty, just weeks before the August 11th trial was to begin. This is Kaylee, Ethan, Maddie, and Xana, his victims. And this is the home where he caused a massacre. One of the worst bloody massacres law enforcement has seen. This is the document, credit to Jen Coffindaffer on X, and it is the summary, the police report as to how they conducted the timed runs, reenactments to determine what occurred in the home and how long it occurred inside the home. On November 21st, 2022, Idaho State Police Sergeant Darren Gilbertson, conducted timed runs through the residence at 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho. That home has been no longer exists. It was taken down, demolished, and a model was constructed for what they anticipated was going to be the trial. I conducted time runs through the residence. Kaylee Goncalves, Maddie Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were unalived there during the early morning hours on November 13th, 2022. Bryan Kohberger, and we will just call him 163214 from this point on, was subsequently arrested and charged with 4 counts of first-degree M. And he also did receive life for each one of those counts and 10 years for burglary. The purpose of the timed runs was to gain an understanding of the approximate time needed to have carried out the M's. I was assigned and worked as the lead investigator for the Idaho State Police in assisting the Moscow Police Department with the multiple homicides. And this is Gilbertson speaking. Based upon the processing of the crime scene and evidence collected, investigators believe 163214 drove to the area and parked at the back of the residence. There is a paved parking lot area directly to the south that overlooks the back of the residence. Kohberger 163214 most likely entered the residence through a sliding glass door located on the second level and the rear of the residence, and then proceeded as follows. After entering through the sliding glass door, he walked through the kitchen area into a set of stairs that led up to the 3rd floor. He then went upstairs to the 3rd floor. So he went to the 3rd floor. He had a reason to not go to look around on the 1st or the 2nd. He went right up to that 3rd floor. And the 2 bedrooms that are up there are Kaylee's, although she's moved out, and Maddie's. He went upstairs to the 3rd floor. At the top of the stairs and directly to the left side is a door, which was Kaylee's bedroom, and to the right is a short hallway that ended into a bathroom and another door to Maddie's bedroom. Most likely, he checked Kaylee's bedroom, saw it was empty, and moved into Maddie's bedroom, where we believe both Maddie and Kaylee were asleep in Maddie's bed. He unalived both of them in the bed. And it is said that Kaylee was unrecognizable in the face and had been struck with a second weapon allegedly over 30 times as well. He most likely went back down the stairs then walked through the second floor living room, and then down the hallway, which ended at Xana's bedroom. Based on the evidence, Xana was initially attacked just inside the bedroom near the entrance. She fought the suspect in the bedroom area and was ultimately unalived on the floor of the bedroom next to the bed. Ethan, who we believe was asleep, was unalived in the bed. Inmate 163214 left the bedroom area, walked back down the hallway, passed through the living room, kitchen, and exited through the sliding glass door, leaving the door partly open. He then walked back to his vehicle and drove away from the area. The 1.5 to 2 minutes and 33 seconds is not including time it takes to get to his vehicle, but they do add that here at the end. ISP, Idaho State Police Detective Jeff Talbot, and Moscow Police Department Corporal Brett Payne assisted with the timed runs. Corporal Payne tracked the times for each run. Detective Talbot walked through the residence with me, calling out the number of strikes to simulate the number of wounds to each victim based on autopsy reports. And I mean, Xana had, we hear, over 50 and Maddie over 30, so hundreds in that short amount of time once he entered the house. That is rage. That is someone who came there to kill unalive. I conducted 2 timed runs, the first being a quick as possible run and the second a slower, deliberate timed run. During the first trial run, I began at the rear of the residence, came through the sliding glass door. I quickly moved through the kitchen and up the stairs. I looked into the bedroom to the left and then moved down the hallway and into Maddie's bedroom. I simulated the number of strikes that were inflicted upon Maddie and Kaylee. Detective Talbot counted and kept track in an attempt to recreate the movements and motions believed to have occurred based on the evidence collected and autopsy reports. Shocking what he was accomplished in that house in such a short amount of time. And it's not an accomplishment what he did, right? I moved out of the bedroom, down the stairs, through the living room, down the hallway, and into Xana's bedroom. Again, with the assistance of Detective Talbot, I simulated the number of strikes that were inflicted upon Xana and Ethan. I then exited down the hallway, through the living room, through the kitchen, and out the sliding glass door. Corporal Payne reported a time of approximately 1 minute and 30 seconds on the quickest possible timed run. Now imagine that, entering, walking through the house, going up to the 3rd floor, unaliving the 2 girls, Kaylee and Maddie. I mean, Kaylee's unrecognizable. Then unaliving Xana and Ethan, and all of this occurring within 1.5 minutes and 2.5 minutes, 1.5 to 2.5 minutes of being in that home. On the second run, slower and deliberate, I followed the same path throughout the residence, but at a much slower and methodical pace. I entered through the rear sliding glass door, opening it slowly to make no noise while doing so. I walked as quietly as I could through the kitchen and up the stairs, attempting to make no noises. I looked into the first bedroom and slowly moved down the hallway and into Maddie's bedroom. Detective Talbot counted and kept track again as I recreated the movements and the motions believed to have occurred inside the bedroom. I exited the bedroom, moved back down the stairs, through the living room, down the hallway, and into Xana's bedroom. The movement to Xana's bedroom was slower than the first run, but still somewhat quick. I again simulated the movements and motions that took place inside Kernodle's bedroom. I then exited back down the hallway, through the living room, through the kitchen, and out the sliding glass door. Corporal Payne reported the time of approximately 2 minutes and 33 seconds. 2 minutes and 33 seconds. We additionally walked through simulated paths. So inside the house, their times are 1 minute and 30 seconds is the quickest possible, and 2 minutes and 33 seconds is the slower, more methodical and deliberate. Then now they're going to add the time to get to the vehicle. We additionally walked through simulated paths that he may have possibly taken from the vehicle to the back of the residence. The shortest and most direct path going from the parking area, moving east to west along the back of the house, took 30 seconds approximately. A second path starting at the southern edge of the property, walking a fence line through some trees, moving in a south to north direction towards the back of the house took approximately 1 minute. The times to make the same two paths at a running pace were approximately 6 to 7 seconds for the short path, 10 to 12 seconds for the longer path. So he did not need to be there very long, did he? The timed runs revealed that it was possible for him to have carried out these unalivings in as few as 2 minutes and 6 seconds, going at a fast pace on the shortest route to the vehicle. That is entering, that's coming back or exiting his vehicle, getting into the house, walking there, entering, walking through the house, unaliving 4 people, hundreds of strikes to them with the weapon, and then going back to his vehicle. And the quickest that they feel he could have done that after doing a reenactment timed is 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Unbelievable. Going at a fast pace on the shortest route to the vehicle, or as much as 3 minutes and 45 seconds going at a slower pace on the longer route to the vehicle. This concluded the simulated timed runs through the residence. And that was from Idaho State Police. And that was their rendition doing the reenactments timed, including the strikes and the motions and the movements and to and from the vehicle and entering. And taking the lives of Kaylee, Ethan, Maddie, and Xana. 2 to 3.5 minutes total. Vehicle, back to vehicle. 4 lives ended. Forever. Families, friends, residents of Moscow, sorority sisters, fraternity brothers, and the nation were impacted. 1 minute and 30 seconds, quickest possible time to inflict such a massacre. A killer to enter, stab hundreds of times, and leave like the coward he is. And my question tonight is, why? But then as I'm asking it, I think about it. Could there be an answer that could satisfy anyone for such a monstrous, monstrous act? I think not. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, keep keeping on. Rest in peace to Xana, Kaylee, Ethan, and Maddie. And may peace be to their friends and families and loved ones.